Hi friends, welcome to virtual learning. We are learning the new dress written by Virginia Woolf. Friends, we have studied three parts of this text. Now this is fourth one. Here, friends, we were here in last part. This is the second last line. Them all size good buttons or tadpoles means how her yellow dress looking like. That is a good buttons of a long size boot, and tadpole that is of like a toad, frog, little ones of frog, and how they look like that only. And it was amazing to think how much humiliation and agony, and this is very much humiliation for Mabel and agony she received in that party. And here the next today we are learning this self-loathing also. In self, uh, she just condemns herself. That is a self-loathing punishment given by herself. Also, she is considering inferior herself than others, and effort and passionate ups and downs of feeling were contained in a thing the size of three penny. And how it is her sorrow that is contained in the size of three penny. Three penny once again that coins or the part, and it is the size of three penny. Means she consider herself meager, paltry, so inferiority. And what was still order? And what was still order? Different thing is that this thing, Mabel wearing about Mabel wearing was separate, quite disconnected, and though Mrs. Holman, the black button, was leaning forward and telling her how her eldest boy had strained his heart running. Now what happened? Mrs. Holman was there, and Mrs. Holman asking so many questions to Mabel. Actually, Mrs. Holman want to know everything from Mabel, and she just teasing Mabel by doing this, and purposefully or intendedly, she just doing this. Mrs. Holman, a black button writer, Virginia will prefer her black button or a black dot. It's not good so was leaning forward and telling how her eldest son, eldest boy, means Mrs. Holman had strained his heart running. Means how he just disturbed and how he just giving tension. Strain his heart means giving tension, under tension, or he's under tension. She could see her too, and she could see her too. Means she is also means Mabel is also under tension too, quite detached, and she is quite detached, taking part in the conversation of Miss Holman, not giving answers also, quite detached in the looking glass, and she is looking in that glass, and it was impossible that the black dot leaning forward, and that black dot means Mrs. Holman leaning forward, gesticulating or trying to take out from Mabel or to disturb Mabel, and looking glass she was detached, totally detached, separate, and it was impossible that the black dot leaning forward and to lean forward and to see that Mabel's face, that was impossible. That's why gesticulating means using gesture movements of body parts or the hands especially, and gesticulating or like to telling Mabel should make yellow dot. Means here yellow dot, once again Virginia will prefer yellow dot to Mabel. Sitting solitary, she is sitting solitary, lonely, self-centered. Now she is feel what the black dot was feeling, and she feel what the black dot was feeling. Means black dot also trying to take out something, get satisfaction of that, and to teasing Mabel. Yet they pretended, and both they pretended. Actually, Mabel didn't like conversation of this Mrs. Holman with Mrs. Holman. So impossible, keep boys quiet. That was the kind of thing one said, and from them, two of them said, "Ah, yes, it is impossible to keep boys quiet. Boys always making so many mischievous things, and it is impossible to make them the related issue of about boys and about their family children." Next, and Mrs. Holman, Steer Redkerson, who could never get enough sympathy. Now she could not get sympathy from Mabel. How could Mabel say something, some good words, soothing words to Mrs. Holman, and snatch what little there was greedily, and what little, whatever the little, she just snatched from Mabel. Whatever that output will Mabel give, she snatched like a greedy person, greedily, as if it were her right, and as if it were her right. Some women are there they are just thinking to taking out some news from other women. But she deserved much more, for there was her little girl who had come down this morning with a swollen knee joint. And what happened? Her little girl means maybe fall down, and her knee, that is swollen or wounded knee joint, that is a knee portion, joint portion, and that was she deserved for that, because she is disturbing others. Took this miserable offering and looked at it suspiciously, and she looked at suspiciously what happening grudgingly, here grudgingly, in a reluctant manner or in a resentful manner. It is, if it were a half penny when it ought to have been a pound. Actually, it should have been a pound, means the amount or the value of that conversation that Virginia will compare with pound. It should be pound, and pound she wanted. Miss Holman wanted pound, but what happened? That is a half penny, in small part of that penny, not a penny even, half penny. When it ought to have been a pound, and put it away in her purse, and whatever she take out from Mabel, she put in her purse. Means it is a figurative language. Virginia Woolf use their figurative language. Actually, the words and their meanings are different, but we have to take not words and meaning. Means it is a figurative language. Means whatever she want from Mabel, it should be pound, value of pound. But here she get only half penny, means nothing. Put it away, whatever it she grab in her purse, must put up with it. Mean miserly though it was miserly, it is a miserly though it was, whatever it is, okay, not a pound, half penny, then whatever the information Mabel had given to her, she just got in her purse. With being hard, times being hard, so very hard. One on she went, and what she said, time being hard means time is not good or very hard, tough time is going on, and she went creaking. How she went? Creaking. Here the meaning of creaking, making a harsh, high pitched sound, very high sound, grudgingly here in a reluctant, resentful manner. And she went. And here, this injured Mrs. Hullman, she injured because Mabel didn't give answer. Mabel didn't like her, and that's why about the girl, means about that girl, her girl, that is a wounded knee joint, swollen knee joint, her girl, and she injured on that issue. Mabel injured her with the swollen joint. It was tragic. This greed, it was tragic, and this greed means here the nature of human being. Holman, Mrs. Holman, there is a greed. She wanted to knew everything from Mabel. This clamor of human beings, and this is the shock, the surprise of human beings. Means human beings, how human beings behave to each other. Sometimes in a hatred manner, or sometimes in a cunning manner, or sometimes, since here every human being in interaction with each other, that is not good here. Like a row of cormorants, and how it is human beings interaction, row of cormorants means how she feel the cormorants. Cormorants means sea diving birds. Means row here, flock of cormorants. See the meaning here, long dive, large diving bird, diving seabirds, cormorants, barking and flapping their wings, making noise and flapping their wings. So for sympathy, they wanted sympathy, but here no one gets sympathy like that. Means the condition of Mrs. Holman and Mrs. Mabel, like cormorants, row of cormorants. It was tragic. One could have felt it. It was tragic, very tragic, humiliating. One could felt, and not merely pretended to feel it. Means both they pretended to feel it. Actually, Mrs. Mabel and Mrs. Holman, that was the same in criteria. They were sorrow, and Mrs. Holman wanted to disturb Mabel. Here the next. But in her yellow dress tonight, she could not wring out one drop more. But what happened? In her yellow dress, actually she is very wet with wet with very sorrowful things, sorrowful events. Means so many sorrow within her, and that's why become wetty. Here it is a figurative language. And tonight she could not wring out, means a drop of water. She don't want, now she don't want more water to pour on her yellow dress. Actually she was waiting in her mind also, that was waiting, waiting. And weighty of what things, that is a sorrowful thing. She considered herself inferior. She wanted it all for its herself only. She wanted all, whatever the sorrow, all for herself. She knew, she kept on looking into the glass, and she's looking into the glass, dipping into that, gratefully showing up blue pool. And in that glass also she is seeing that pool, water, lake, and showing that means she is drowning and drowning deep. Means her condition, that was very sad condition, that she was condemned, and these things she was condemned, hated, despised, that is hated, condemn and despise, the same meaning, left like, and how it is left like in a water bag, and how she backwater, and how she feel means as if backwater of sea just threw away something, the waves threw away something, left like, and she feel actually that means her inner condition, her mind, that is wavering because of her being like this, a feeble, and how why he is a feeble in character, weak mind, weak blooded, weak, timid, vacillating creature. Vacillating means thinking this and that, means, what to do, be or not to be. That is a vacillating in character. So she is weak. Her personality, that is not strong, and it seemed to her that the yellow dress was a penance, and her yellow dress, that was a penance for her, punishment for her, and it seemed to her that the yellow dress was a penance which she had deserved, and which she had deserved actually, because she is weak minded, not a strong woman. And if she had been dressed like Rose Shaw, what happened? Suppose she had been dressed like Rose Shaw. Rose Shaw actually, this character, beautiful design or dress, she wore in lovely clinging green, or in a lovely fashion, or a clinging green means like something work embroider or something with a ruffle of swan down. She would have deserved that, and she would deserve Rosha, because she is a rich woman, yeah, and that's why she deserved that dress. And she thought that there was no escape for her. And Mabel is thinking here, there was no escape. Means how she escaped? There was no escape. Her condition was not good. Economic condition was not good, and that's why there was no escape. So she is thinking herself, and from this sorrow there will be no escape, none whatsoever. Whatever so it, no one will escape her. But it was not her fault altogether. But this is not her fault. Then whose fault it is? Writer Virginia Woolf is narrating here whose fault it is. After all, it was being one of a family of 10. Now her background, that is a family background, means she belongs to family, such a family, poor family, and in that 10 family members, I told you in already also in advance that 10 family members were there, never having money, enough money, always skimping, means always just reducing their expenses, skimping here, spending very little, less than necessary, whatever necessary, and paring, always cutting, means adjusting every time. So her family, her mother carrying great cans, and her mother works very hard carrying that cans in company or something, and the linoleum on the stair edges, and their her costume, that is her clothes were of linoleum, means here it is a canvas, made up of canvas, and that also, that was own. Some patches were given to that costume, and one sordid little, and what happened? One sordid means one very dreadful thing that happened, little that dreadful thing happened to the next year. What happened? Domestic tragedy after another, nothing catastrophic. And this domestic tragedy, this was very devastating. The sheep farm failing. Their sheep farm means all sheep were died. Means something disaster came, and all that their sheep died. And this is a catastrophe involving causing very sudden great damage, suffering, and her family, means in her family. That's why they suffer very much, but not utterly. Her eldest brother marrying beneath, but not very much. Now her eldest brother married to a girl, means beneath him, means here low standard, means not in their standard, and he got nothing, not much, very much. There was no romance, and in their family there was no romance, no good things, no happening, no happy moments, nothing extreme about them all, and whatever, nothing extreme about them all. They petted out, and they petted out, means here they diminish, or the end of this, gradually their end, since they suffered very much, their family condition, their economic condition, that is collapse respectably in a seaside resorts. And what happened? They Peter respectively in a seaside resorts, every watering place had one of her aunt, and every seaside resorts were there, and every watering means watery place there were Mabel's Mabel's aunts. Even now asleep in some lodging, and they don't have any house also. They were sleeping here and there in lodging or something, making adjustment. Not a good house with the front windows not quite facing the sea, means that house not having windows or not facing the sea, means their condition, economic condition was not good. That's why their house was not also good. So that's why they were suffering. It was so like them. They had to squint at things always, and they have to squint. Squint means adjust, means every time they have to adjust in their family. And she had done the same, and she had also done the same, means adjustment she had done. She was just like her aunts, and she was just like her aunts, means as if Mabel's aunt. And here, for example, all her dreams. Now, what her dreams? All her dreams. Leaving India, married to some hero like Sir Henry Lawrence. Now, in her dream, she wanted to marry like a person, hero person, or the handsome figure or the wealthy figure, that is a Sir Lawrence Henry. Now, who is Sir Lawrence Henry? See here the website. Sir Lawrence Henry, Brigadier General. Sir Henry Lawrence was a British military officer, surveyor, administrator, and statesman in British India. Means he was empire person, empire builder. Means having some good family background, or he was a statesman in British Empire, British India. So wealthy person, and she wanted to marry such person. Still, the sight of native in the turban filled her with romance. Now in a bracket it is given. So still the sight means still the remembering. When she remember this sight of marrying to a person that is a native in a turban filled her with romance, and she feel great. It's romantic something when she remember. Now see here, friends. She is in the party, very sorrowful moments that going on. She is very unhappy, and now she is remembering all these things. Why? She wanted to escape from the reality. Mabel wanted to escape from the reality, and that's why she is remembering good things. When we are in a sorrow, when we are in an unhappy mood, then we remember good events. Why? So that we should forget that unhappiness, and we should forget the things, agony, reduce the pains, and that's why she is also remembering. Means here, flashback method is given here. Here, this is the stream of consciousness. This is the method, stream of consciousness of writer, narrative method. So friends, here she married, and what happened now? She had failed utterly. And she failed. Her dream was collapsed. Her dream that was broken. She had married Hubert with his safe permanent underlying job in law court. Now a person, Hubert, his name, and he is in a law court. He is working in a court, that is a permanent job, having permanent job, and they manage tolerably in a smallish house, and they manage tolerably. His job is permanent, okay, no problem, but that is only not sufficient to fulfill their ambition. So only bread and butter, up to bread and butter, and he's working. Hubert is working in law firm, law courts, and they manage tolerably in a smallish house, not big house, without proper maids. Means they don't have maid servants. Then hash when she was alone, and when she was alone, hash means here remembering here when she was alone, means once again hash means adjustment also, just bread and butter. Only she had to prepare bread and butter. Okay, and another meaning of hash is there, means to adjust food. Food. She wanted to make mutton, so she used potato also in that adjustment also. And when she is alone, she has to make adjustment. And once again, see the next. Yeah, maids or a hash when she was alone, or just bread and butter. But now, and then Mrs. Holman was off. Now Mrs. Holman that off, thinking her the most dried up. Now she thought Abel is most dried person, very sorrowful in mood, unsympathetic, twig. she's looking like unsympathetic twig. Twig means here a small branch of herb or a tree. So she had dried twig, and she had ever made such a absurdly dress too, and she had made a dress that is not good, and she made such a person, Mabel, and would tell everyone about Mabel's fantastic appearance. And Mrs. Holman now she's telling everyone, Mabel, we are so dirty dress, and everyone telling. This is the nature of a woman to tell everyone about Mabel's dress. Now and then, thought Mabel wearing. And this is the thought of Mabel wearing. Now she will, Miss Holman off, went away, and that's why she would tell everyone. So this is the thought of Mabel. Left alone on the blue sofa. Mabel was there on the blue sofa punching the cushion or punching the cushion because she is very sorrow mood, and that's why in order to look occupied means she has that sofa and she occupied that sofa everything, and that's why punching in a sorrow. For she would not join Charles Bird and Rose Shaw, and she is not willing to join Charles Bird because he commented back, and Rose Shaw also sarcastically said, chattering like uh, magpies, and how they are looking like a magpies. Magpies means a very long tail, black and white bird. And Rose Shaw and Charles Bird were looking like a bird, and they were enjoying the party. And Mabel here, she didn't want to go there, and that's why perhaps laughing at her by the fireplace, and they were sitting near fireplace and they were laughing on Mabel. Yes, this is the thought of Mabel. Now and then, now also and then also means that time in party there did come to her delicious moment. Now it is a delicious moment come. That is the reading. Once again, she remember reading. Now delicious moment, good good moment. Means sometimes she remember, sometimes she entered in the thought of uh, means painful thought, and to relieve, to get relief from that painful thought, she just remember or she just remind good thoughts. Now the moment, that is the reading. Here the night, the other night in bed, for instance, or down by the sea on the sand in the sun. Now she is sitting on the sea in front of that seashore in sun. Sunlight was there, and the event, that is the Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday means after crucifying that Good Friday. It comes it Easter. So let her record it, and she remember that festival. Yeah, Easter is most important festival of Christian Church, celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Means once again, after crucifying God Yeshu, once again means reborn or once again seen by someone. So that is resurrection. So Easter Sunday. So Easter, she remember that incident. Let her record it. A great tuft of pale sad grass, or great tuft means bunch of grass, pale sand grass. And there is a sand, and in that sand grass is there, and she just pale. Pale means very thin, and tuft means here bunch grass, all twisted like a shock, and it appears twisted like a shock. Means she was sitting there, and she saw that grass uh, that is upcoming, growing there, and how that grass, that is a shock of spears. It's like a spears means here weapons. Spears means weapon against the sky, and that all that grass is a standing position, and against that sky which was blue like a smooth china egg, and that sky that was very blue, smooth china egg, and all that spheres were in that direction. Means that grass, imagination of Mabel, so firm, that imagination was so firm, so hard. And then the melody of the waves, and once again the melody of the waves, tune of the waves, because she is sitting on beach. Melody of the waves coming, waves were coming, that is the hush hush sound that they said. And the children shout, padding, and the children shout means somewhere children playing and shouting. Yes, it was a divine moment, and that was the divine moment of that Easter. And there She lay just there. She felt how in the hand of the goddess, and she felt in the hand of the goddess, means goddess just left her in her hand. Who was the world? Rather harder, rather hard hatred, and that world. Who was the world? Rather hard hatred, and Mabel, his personality, that is the everyone hating Mabel. So as if she is just imagining, but very beautiful goddess, and that goddess means rather hard hearted. That god is a goddess is a hard hearted and but very beautiful also goddess. That a little lamb, and one little lamb is there laid on the altar, laid on the altar. Altar means is the birthplace of Christ. And here goddess, beautiful goddess, it's as if she is remembering the incident of God Eshu. So that's why lamb they laid on the altar. One did think these silly things, and one did think these silly things, and it didn't matter so long as one uh, nerve said them. It's only silly things here. Actually, she is in the party, she is in the disgust mood, sorrow mood, and she is just relaxed. Means she wanted to escape from the reality, and that's why she is thinking like this. And also with Hubert sometimes means her husband, she had quite unexpectedly means she felt something that odd with her husband also, and she wanted to escape from the reality, and she wanted to enjoy the thing imagination. Friends, today here in fourth part we have taken this, so in fifth part we will continue. Thank you very much.